Welcome back. Today we're talking about regret. How many of you have faced regret? How many still live with regret? How many allow regret to dictate your happiness or your ability to see positivity? I know it's impacted me before, so I'm not here to criticize. I'm just here to perhaps give you some words of encouragement or a different perspective on how to think about it. First question: if you didn't encounter all of the mistakes or the regrets, whatever you want to call it, would you have the ability to coach, mentor, develop, or add any value to anybody that you love today? Said differently, if you lived in a box and you never had credit problems, you never had financial problems, you didn't have to overcome bad relationships, fake friends, job troubles, I mean, you name it, we all have our regrets. But as I've grown older, I've made a conscious effort not to allow regrets or mistakes to dictate how I move or how I think in the future. Actually, I've reframed my thought process. If I had not experienced the areas that I deem a regret or a mistake, what experience would you have gathered? And without experience, who can you help? Right? If you're a parent, if you didn't make mistakes and you don't have some regrets about those mistakes, what authority do you have to provide feedback and develop your children? You don't, outside of reading literature or learning in some other forum. Essentially what I'm saying, don't let regret weigh so heavy that you can't move forward. You made mistakes. I don't know anybody that hasn't. However, I do know a few people, and I hope to be one of those people, not only for you, but for the people under my roof and the people that are around me on a regular basis. Be the voice of reason. Ask yourself literally, what are the positives that have come from the regret? Perhaps you made the mistakes, and if you didn't make those mistakes, you wouldn't have the children, you wouldn't have the spouse, you wouldn't have the career, you wouldn't have the courage or the confidence or the ability to have an intuition now that identifies that you're in a bad place and you need to get away from these people or this surrounding. Without mistakes and regrets, you don't know what to prioritize. You can't see the fake in anything. I actually think I'm grateful for most of the regrets and the mistakes that I've made, because it actually gives me the authority and ability to get on this microphone and hopefully inspire somebody to think differently, even if it is something as little as just holding your head up in the damn hallway. Hold your head up in the classroom. Hold your head up at the place of employment. Hold your head up in the mirror. Don't let regret dictate your damn life. I've said it before and I may say it again 1,000 more times. Some scientists believe we have a 1 in 400 trillion chance of being born. And let me tell you something, folks. If that's anywhere close to being true, you're the closest to a miracle and the closest to impossible that you'll ever encounter. And yeah, that's fluff, that's cliche, that's etc. But if that's anywhere close to being true, wake up with at least that at the forefront of your mind. Allow that to dictate your mindset and allow that to fuel a smile. We have better odds of growing wings right now, of flying out of the house. You're here for a reason. I don't think any of us was designed to not make a mistake. I actually think the mistakes and the regrets that we have give us the authority and the ability to face the adversity, build the muscle, confidence, and courage to meet somebody at their journey in their life, influence a different path because you've already banged your head against that wall. You can show them that there's a door on the right side. And the only way you can do that is because you hit the wall. You can either play victim because you made a lot of mistakes and you live with the regret and you allow it to weigh so heavily that you can't take it a step forward, or you can turn it into a positive and let the past remain the past. Look forward and try to identify who else may be about to hit the same wall or currently banging their head against the wall, and how can you influence them for the positive based on the authority you've acquired, given that you've experienced the same situation. I'll give you a different quote, and I may just be the creator of the quote. The biggest regret is not regretting early enough. What does that mean? What I'm not here on this camera trying to convince you to do is to forget or not look in the mirror or not try to identify the areas of opportunity you have today to mitigate or eliminate the regrets that are inevitable for the future. So, twofold. I'm trying to influence you that there is so much to be proud of, and you actually don't add much value to the world, to your loved ones, if you haven't faced some level of adversity. And through adversity, I'm sure you've made mistakes. I'm sure that there's regrets involved, but the information and the knowledge and the scars you've acquired through those regrets now gives you the authority to influence and help people down their own journey. And I'm not sure there's a greater impact than doing that. It's the reason for this conversation. So, one, I'm trying to influence you not to allow your historical regrets to weigh so heavily that you find yourself in quicksand and you can't move forward, because that's not helping anybody, including yourself, and most importantly, yourself. Use the regrets and the lessons learned to help develop the people around you. Use that for a positive, because if you actually take the time to stop looking in the mirror and being pissed off about the decisions that you made and actually look in the mirror and say, what good has come from this? Now can I teach my kids what to look out for, what to be aware of, what to prioritize? I guarantee you the mistakes and the regrets that you've made has allowed you to have a deeper and greater impact on the people around you. The real question is, have you looked in the mirror and really taken inventory of that? Or are you still living with the semi-truck on your shoulder, smiling when you don't really want to smile, when all it takes is just a different perspective to look in the mirror and ask yourself, did I overcome such odds to be here today? Yes, you're an absolute miracle and the closest to impossible based on the odds of being born. Well, I'm talking to myself, I'm hearing myself, I can still hug and I can still love and I can still walk, presumably so. What else can I be grateful for? Maybe you have kids. Maybe unfortunately you're not able to have kids. Maybe you have a loving, supporting family. Maybe you found financial success. Maybe you're an individual that has recently found their passion. What are the gifts that you possess? Sometimes you find the greatest gifts through the adversity, the mistakes, and failures. So that's one. Please try to look in the mirror and see something different than the mistakes that you've made in the past. Because if you take close inventory of that, those mistakes, while in the moment and maybe even currently still, seem to break you. I actually think they probably built you more than they broke you. And I speak generally, obviously. I know some of you likely have a lot of tragedy and some situations that are unexplainable. I understand that. Speaking generally. Second, the biggest regret is not regretting early enough. What do I mean by that? I'll tell you from my perspective. One of the main concerns I have is not taking the appropriate actions today to eliminate or at least mitigate the risks or the regrets that I'll have on my deathbed. I don't think we have to go to the cancer ward or the nursing home to identify what the biggest regret is. My bet it is not spending time with the people that you love, or especially now in this day and age, not being present where your feet are, which prevents you from turning all the moments into memories that when that time comes, you can reflect on demand, right? A lot of us, including myself on occasion, we show up in the physical form with the best intent, with the ones we love, but we're so preoccupied that I couldn't recall the conversation or any of the details from that moment if somebody paid me. And that's a problem. Because again, there's no question at the end of the road, biggest regret's going to be, did we capture the moments that mattered, turn them into memories, so we can recall them on demand? Yes or no? And the answer to the question is going to be dictated by the decisions we make today. Why I'm speaking to you right now, it's more than just a video. Yes, there is a primary intent of this video, which is to influence and inspire somebody else to get up off the couch and don't let the regrets and mistakes hold you down from pursuing and fulfilling the purpose and justification for overcoming 1 in 400 trillion odds of being born. That is one of the main intents for this video. But the other, on topic, is to create a memory on video. So I don't have to be overly dependent on my mind to capture the moment and turn it into a memory that I can recall in 40, 50 years from now. I'm trying to create moments and memories through digital means, but it also gives my kids or my family or my friends or my support system some other way to learn the lessons based on the mistakes and the regrets and the successes and the failures that I've had in my life, even if I'm not sitting on the couch mentoring or talking to them. So again, in summary, there's two things with regret that I would encourage us to think different about. All of the mistakes and all of the regrets that you live with today, please try to let them go. Why? And who are you to tell me to let my regrets go? You don't know me. You don't know my situation. That's true. But I know that you woke up today if you're watching this damn video. And if the scientists are anywhere close to being true with the odds of you being born, which is perhaps 1 in 400 trillion, I don't know you. But what I'm trying to say is if you're walking around living with regret, blaming yourself or others for your situation or circumstance, there's no way in the world you're going to have the ability to fully pursue the purpose to get closer to the justification of why you've overcome impossible odds to be here. That I do know, even though I don't know you personally. Second, I have empathy, and I'm speaking generally. I know there are some situations out there that words cannot explain. Regrets, mistakes. But here's an interesting thing about time is it doesn't matter the level of sacrifice. You're not getting any time back. What does that mean? That means that particular moment is not going to allow you to replay it. So what do? We move forward. Think about all the positive that you have in your life. Allow that to fuel you to overcome the guilt and regret that you may live with. Again, I don't know you, but I guarantee you, if you sit down one day and you ask yourself, what good has come from the lessons that I've learned through the regrets and mistakes that I've made? I actually think you're going to be quite surprised. And even if you're not surprised about that, without question, you possess more information that you've acquired through adversity and the mistakes and the work you had to put in to overcome such things. You now have authority to help anybody and everybody that is facing a similar or an exact situation that you've already overcome.